Okay, guys. So today we'll discuss about this CloudWatch. Let me stop this record. Okay. So whatever the services we have covered so far, all the resources and everything, right? So AWS provides actually a monitoring solution that is called the CloudWatch. Through that resources, through that tool, and that program, we can monitor the resources whatever we are using in the AWS. Okay, so we have actually two things like CloudWatch and the Cloud Trail. If you go and watch, okay, I have not shared my screen. Let me share it. So let's close this. Okay, so if you go to the services, you'll see this monitoring section, right? We have one monitoring section where we can find it out. So, one second. Where we can find it out? What is that? Containers, contain developers, and okay. So in this management and governance section, you'll find lots of tools they have actually, lots of resources and lots of programs they have, like CloudWatch, Cloud Formation, Cloud Trail. Okay, lot more there actually they have, but these all the resources actually having different work. Okay, so we are going to see this CloudWatch today and see how we can just manage this CloudWatch. Just click on this CloudWatch. Okay, guys. So see, whatever the dashboard you are now seeing, maybe in 1 month before it was totally different. It is a totally new dashboard every time. Whenever you are going to just use the AWS, you will find they will be designing new dashboards. Okay, and every time they are just rebuilding, redesigning their applications. So if you see here, what they say, the update is create cross account and cross region dashboards for a complete view of your applications. So this is a totally new dashboard and looks very good. The new design for CloudWatch automatic CloudWatch automatic dashboards is now available. Okay. Let's try out the new interface. Okay, so this interface looks like now it is. Switch to your original interface. Okay, good. Okay, so before moving to the CloudWatch setups, let's see what is this exactly CloudWatch and what are the services it provides. Okay, so CloudWatch, what is the CloudWatch? Amazon CloudWatch is a monitoring service. Okay, whatever there are many services available, right? More than 100 and 500 services are there. To manage these services and monitoring these services, CloudWatch provides this. AWS provides this CloudWatch service to monitor all the AWS resources, whatever you are using, as well as the applications that we run on AWS. Whatever the applications also we are running, suppose you are having EC2 services we are using and have installed lots of applications there, and we are going to monitor, do the health check, right? Every organization have their own monitoring solutions. Similarly, AWS provides its own CloudWatch services through which you can monitor all the services on the resources on the AWS platform. Okay, so what we can do with this CloudWatch? So we can monitor EC2 instances, we can monitor auto scaling groups, elastic load balancers, Route 53 health checks, okay, ABS volume, storage, CloudFront, all these things we can monitor through the CloudWatch. So there are a few metrics how it collects, like the host level metrics it collects, like CPU, network, disk, status checks. I believe hope you guys all have know this kind of metrics. I have to check the CPUs, CPU usage, network usage, disk. and storage usage, right? All this. So CloudWatch is used for monitoring performance. It can monitor most of AWS as well as our applications that run on AWS. So remember, it does not monitor all the 500 resource, all the 500 services. It does not monitor all the 500 services. So what it does, it monitors the few services whatever is given here, and apart from that it also monitors few other services, but not exactly all the services. If you go to these sections and if you find like in the management and governance sections, there will be many other applications they have many other tools, other services. These services is having the different like AWS chatbot, like a service to provide the chatbot, right? A robo kind of monitoring stuff, right? Then Cloud Trail. This Cloud Trail actually monitors the not the system performance. It monitors the users and credentials, whatever the users have logged into your AWS account. That is called user monitoring. Like, see, if the CloudWatch, you can say the CloudWatch is doing your health status and health checks. It does the user management and user checks and monitors the users who have logged in and what are the credentials details. Everything it monitors through the Cloud Trail. Okay. So what else it does? So what we can do with CloudWatch, we can create our dashboards. So dashboard creates to see what is happening with your AWS environment. Also, it gives the alarms. It allows us to set alarms that notify us when particular threshold are hit. Events, CloudWatch events helps us to respond to state changes in our AWS resources. And logs. So it also logs all the activities of the applications and the services you have set up to monitor. Okay, now if you go and here and check, see the dashboard here, you can create alarms. So when you create alarms, like suppose you, before creating the alarm, first you have to create the events, right? What are the events you're going to see? So let's check what are the, what it says, write rules to indicate which events are are of interest for your applications and what automated action to take. So the event you have to set up based on your application requirement. Suppose this applications is requiring this particular event to be triggered at particular time or um, particular threshold or particular problems happen, your event will be triggered. So let's see and check the events. So we don't have any events created. What it says, CloudWatch event is now in Amazon event bridge. Okay. Okay. What it says now, Amazon event bridge, formerly CloudWatch event. So CloudWatch provides all functionality from CloudWatch and also launched new features such as custom event versus and third-party event sources. So they have created now one Amazon event bridge. Okay. So let's start with Amazon CloudWatch events. Okay, so the event pattern. First, you have to set up the gateway service name, which service you are going to use. Either you are going to use the AWS Coursera connections or Amazon Connect Forecast on all these actually the services which you are going to do that. Either you can use the event pattern or schedule. So let me select the schedule. Now what I'm going to do, the fixed rate, suppose rate of 5 minutes, and the con expressions like the event, what time the event will be triggered, right? So event source, you can set the con jobs. Most of you know the con job setups, right? The con job setup, you can do the concept set it up, or if you want fixed rate, right? Every 5 minutes interval, it will just do the event. 5 minutes will check, right? You can check hours and 5 days and all. You can just set up. And the so sample rates here is the JSON file for this event setup. Okay, this is the JSON file. If you want to put all this in your programs or in your own APIs, you can simply just copy paste these things and put it there. Okay. Now, if you see here, let's go ahead and create one target here. Our target. So here when you are going to add the target, you should select the SNS topic. So SNS is nothing but simple notification service. So if we go to our services, so just search for SNS. So see, simple notification service. So let's open this one. Simple notification service. So I don't have any SNS setups on the SNS pricing details. You can find it out, and okay, lots of things they have given. So how we can create the SNS topic? You have to just give a topic. The name topic is a message channel. When you publish a message to a topic, it fans out the message to all subscribed endpoint. So first you have to create one SNS, you have to create one SNS topic. So let's see. See, also, if you want to use the Lambda function, if you want to use the Lambda functions or SQS, the see Amazon also provide the simple queue services. Okay, simple notification services, and this is simple queue services. Okay, lots of options are there. So if you want to use these things, you can just select that. And suppose I just want to use SNS topic, select this one, select the topic. So I don't have any topic yet created. So what I can do, just let me create one SNS topic first. I can just give my SNS, my SNS demo. Next step. Okay, so here you will find it lots of other options like FIFO fast in fast out, sub based and the standard way. So let me check as the standard way, and display name. I can just give the same name as well. It is optional. You can just leave it. Okay. So all these options are optional. When we don't need this encryption, access policy, delivery actually by default it will be HTTP and all. So you'll find each the default delivery retries, so number of retries. If the SNS topic does not send, how many types you want to retry, so minimum delay 20 seconds and all. So if you want to change all this, you can do the changes, or you can just see what is the default policy. Here, if you want to see, this is a JSON preview. If you want to use this in your program or in your code, you can just use this way. Just copy this one and paste it in your code. It will work. Okay, this is the delivery policy, and that's all. You can just go ahead and just create topic. Okay, so what happens? The my SNS demo created successfully. Just go ahead and okay. So what happens here? Once you create the topic, okay, so we have to use the subscriptions. Okay, so topic owner ID and display name I have not given. So let's create a subscription first. Now, when you're creating the subscription, you have to select what you want to do. Either the SNS, the event will be triggered and it will be through email. Just you can select email, okay, and give the endpoint, an email address that can receive notification from an Amazon SNS, because it is a notification service. Okay, so I selected email. Or else if you are using any any method or any functions, lambda functions, which will trigger and send a push event and all. Or if you want to send a message and a queue message, you can use this one. Or you can just SMS, if you want to SMS to your mobile number. Okay, that you can do using this SNS service. There are a lot of things actually people are using this SNS service, and it is very cheap, guys. Very cheap in the sense, if you go to this SNS pricing details, right? Let me show you. uh, just go to the simple services. Okay, I think it is not displaying now. So here, what are the things you can do here? Let me just SNS pricing. So I think for millions request per millions message they charge something very few. Okay, okay, one more. Okay, so here is the pricing details for mobile location. So mobile push notification. So you'll be receiving that mobile push notifications right in your mobile all the times from different companies and different advertised companies and all right. So one for 1 million notifications they are charging $50, sorry, $0.05, only half of a dollar they are just charging around 35 rupees, sorry, 30, 40, 30, 40, 38, 30, 39, 38 rupees, 37 to 38 rupees. Okay, for 1 million notifications. And for email, what happens here? Email and for the 1000 notifications, they're giving $2 for 1 lakh notifications. So for 1 lakh notifications, you have to pay for $2. Okay. Similarly, for different options, they have different prices. Okay, now let's go for this. Create and just give any email ID. Suppose I'll give okay, and before that also you have to no, validate this email ID. Okay, it will just ask you to validate. No worry. And let's of the things are optional, other things. So let's leave it. Create subscription. Okay, so what happens here? Important changes to sending text messages effective June 1. US telecom provider. We are not going to use any US telecom. As I have chosen the uh, Mumbai locations, right? So what happens here? Okay, the subscription, and I have given the end point is this one. Now let me go ahead and create the CloudWatch subscription. Now if I go here, let's refresh this page. The topic is created, right? Okay, I have the topics created. Why it is not coming here? So not this one. Okay, so if you see here, now the topic is now reflected here. Select the topic and configure details. Okay, configure roles. Just give a role definite name. Um, select. Just given anything. My event. Give CloudWatch event demo. Okay, create role. The role is created now. So now what do we have to do? So next is let's set up one alarm. Okay. So before that, let's do some setup of metrics. If you want to see set up some metrics, you can see all metrics. We don't have any metrics here. So what do we have to do? We can create the metrics whatever you want to choose. So here they have given the services here. Suppose for EBS, if you want to see the EBS. So how many? There are actually 198 metrics you can just monitor. Okay, so if you see EBS, let's go with this EC2. Okay, so if you click this EC2 for is for instance metrics per instance. If you have one instance, for instance it has 51 metrics they have. Okay, click on this. See, suppose here I have this DB server. Okay, I have this DB server, and the DB server is stopped, right? It is not. Okay, suppose this MB take this server is running, and the metric name, if you see here, suppose for this instance ID, this is nothing but the EC2 instances, right? This is the instances, and if you want to see here the network, whatever the things you can monitor, just go up, 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 up. Yeah. So here, the status check failed system, the CPU credit balance, okay, CPU usage, and network packet out, all this disk read and all surplus credit, disk write outputs, network outputs, CPU usage, like the credit. Okay, let me just go with this CPU usage. So if you see here, when I click this CPU usage, you can see the graphs actually, the what is the CPU usage, and you can find it out here. Two things: one, network. Okay, I think I have selected two options. One is the network packets in, this one was selected. Let me remove this. Okay, now this one is our only the CPU credit. So whatever the things metrics, if you want to view it, you can just select all the metrics here and can just see the graph. In 3 hours you can just change. Suppose in 1 hour, what is the increases? So here is the CPU changes, you can see here. 3 hours, 12 hours, all these options you can just monitor from this. Okay, how your system performance happening. So suppose here I gave only CPU usage. Suppose I want to give something like the storage. Okay, suppose I want to see the CPU utilization. Just like the CPU utilization, you can view. See, the below one is the CPU credit usage, and the above one is the CPU utilization, right? So let me remove this credit usage, and only we are focusing on the CPU's utilization. See, what are the CPU utilization? You can just monitor all this. So this is a totally a monitoring solutions where you can monitor all your details. Now let me go back again to the all metrics, and okay, so just go to all, and here suppose if you want to monitor anything like the SNS. So let's see about this SNS topics metrics. So we have for SNS we have actually four metrics: number of notifications delivered. Suppose you are in your project, you are using SNS to send emails to the customer, to send emails to the suppose this is very suitable for small business. If you are going to do and you are going to deliver something, some messages, suppose some customer, some one of your customer complains, they have not received the email. Because if you have worked in the production support, right, you would have seen like clients and customer, they'll be complaining like we have not received the this particular email or particular file, or this has not been delivered. So you can monitor all these. Suppose if you are using SNS service, AWS cloud SNS service, you can come here and just monitor the number of things delivered to them. Okay, so you can just search for that and you can find it out. Suppose let's add this one, and you can see this number of notifications delivered, you can find it out here. And if you want to see the logs, you can just go here and find it out, the logs details. Okay, now if you see here at the down, right, CPU utilization here, this SNS notifications and the call logs and call accounts, everything you'll find it out here. So this is all about this matrix. Whatever the matrix you want to search, you can find it. You can go here and can, based on your requirement, you just go ahead and search it here. Okay. Now what we are going to do, we are going to set up the alarms. So let me show you the logs first. So logs group, if you want to create some log group to be monitored, right? So you can go ahead and create some log groups here. Okay, so we don't have any log groups, so just go ahead and create log groups. Give a name here. So CloudWatch log graph demo. So retention settings. So retention settings sometimes, like see, most of the companies organization they have a log retention policy, like based on their capacity they keep the logs. Suppose in your organization it will be 7 days log you'll have, or 14 days logs you will have, right? Sometimes, see, 7 days or 14 days or 30 days or 1 day log, if you want to keep for more times you can just keep it. As long as you are happy and ready to pay for the storage, you can just go ahead and provide the uh, you can use the services. Okay, suppose I just want to keep it for 1 month. Retention setting is 1 month, and this KMS key is nothing but one encryption key, and if you have, you can provide it and go ahead, but it is optional, you can just leave it. Okay, so I just created a log group and create it. Now log group is created, and this whatever the activities will happen, everything will be recorded in this log group, and the retention policy is 1 month set. So 1 month, until 1 month the logs will be generated and kept it here. Okay, so let's see about the log insights. Okay, no visualization, no log share, so we don't have anything so far is captured. 1 hour, 3 hours, no insights available. Okay. Suppose if you want to see that or it's given the fields timestamp message timestamp limit 20. So just run this query. Suppose let me run for okay 1 hour. Run query. Sorry. So select a log group. You have to select the log group here. Anyway, this is a phrase log group and nothing will be there. So I have selected this log group and run query. And here you can see it will just fetch all the logs details. Also in the visualization section you can visualize this, as it has nothing, right? It is no data found because this log group does not have any logs captured. Okay, now what else we can do? We can see the logs, metrics, events, and also we can do the application monitoring. Okay, so the service lens map and all this resource health and everything you can do using this application monitoring. Let's set up this alarms. So we have, if you see here, those options are there. We don't have this alarm, how many alarms and all here. They give it here. So if you see and go all alarms, there will be nothing, I think, right? Yeah. So no alarms have been set up here. So what we are going to do now, let's go ahead and create one alarm. So why you see the alarm part is very important because in your company, right? Whenever there is a job failed, when a job failed, it will send an alarm, right? An alarm to your or notifications to your mailbox. Same thing we are going to set up. Like you will be seeing, like if the CPU usage or the disk reaches more than 80% or more than 90%, it will throw an alarm. It will throw an alarm, or it will throw a notifications to your email ID. So that we are going to set up. Now select a matrix, and suppose same thing. Suppose I am going to do EC2 for instances, and I'm going to the DB suppose MB takes up a CPU utilization. Only one matrix, I'm just selecting it. Select the matrix. Now, so the periods, it's static is average, all the information you'll find it out here. And see, period is 5 minutes. Here the conditions, you have to set up the conditions. The threshold type static or anomaly detection. Use a band as a threshold, use a value as threshold. So let's select as a value. So you can say like is greater than the threshold or greater than equal or lower than, right? So you can set up a value like the value is greater than suppose 80. It will just throw. If you want to set up some additional configurations, you can do go ahead and set up this one. Okay. Now what I will just do, if my CPU threshold, see, 80. So what is this 80? It is a number actually. So defines the threshold value must be a number. Go ahead and next, next. So it says something, sorry, lots of things are there. Okay, now you have to select the SNS topic. So before setting this alarm, remember this SNS topic is to send notifications, because the alarm, when the alarm will trigger, the event will trigger, it will send the notifications. So before that, we should have this SNS service created. Okay, this SNS service you should have created before you set up these alarms. Now let's select an existing SNS topic. So I have already my SNS demo, and the email endpoint you can see here. This is the email ID I have given. Okay, now let's see in this console. Okay, now see guys, it gives the pending confirmations. Now what happens? It has sent my, it has sent me one confirmations to my email ID to confirm to active this topic. Otherwise, if the emails and notifications will not go. Okay, so let me just open in my mobile and check. So the pending confirmations is there, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just active this one. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so I have received one AWS notification subscription confirmations. You have chosen to subscribe the topic, confirm subscriptions. Okay, subscription confirmed. You have successfully subscribed. Okay, now the country. Okay, now it says pending. Let me refresh this. Okay, now you can see here the status is confirmed, right? Because I confirmed from my email ID, it is confirmed, and the subscription ID they have provided it. Okay, so if you click it here, you will find it at the details about this protocol email and endpoints and everything are there. Okay, now my SNS is now confirmed. Okay, what I'm going to do here now, let's do that one. Okay, now if you want to set up any kind of auto scaling actions, you can go ahead and set up here. And if you want to see any kind of EC2 actions, go ahead. Okay, what happens sometimes, if there is heavy load, okay, if there is any heavy load or anything, so if you want, you can set up what actions you want if the alarm is triggered. If you want to stop this instance or reboot this instance, it will be automatically reboot the instance. Suppose if I select this reboot instance, what will happen? If so, sometimes what happens, it generates lots of temp files, generates lots of unnecessary chunks, which temporary files, which will be causing the server to slow down. Okay, if the storage or the memory is totally full, right? Suppose if you have given the memory reaches the threshold more than 80% or 80, so if you want to reboot the systems, if it is not the critical applications running, you can easily reboot it, but not, it is not ideally set up to reboot. But these are the options they have given what you have to do. Okay, you can select it, then just click next, and system manager actions also, what are the things you want, you can just go ahead and provide it here. Now go ahead and click next. Alarm name, just give some name like um, CloudWatch alarm demo. Just give any descriptions based on your alarm setup, you can just give the descriptions. Go ahead and preview and create. So greater than 80 and all. So go ahead and just create alarm. Okay. Now you can see CloudWatch alarm demo is created. So state is called insufficient data. Action is enabled, but insufficient data because the data is not sufficient to send this email. So once you get the sufficient data and it is state let me rephrase it. It has not collected the data, so that's why it is not giving. Remember guys, once the alarm is triggered based on the SNS topic set up in this alarm, right? What happened here? 80, right? It will not cross 80. Okay, I should have give something very less around. Okay, to it does not have any. Okay, so here if you see the actions enabled, notification, the type of actions I have two actions here. One is notification, another one is EC2. So notifications will be sent when in alarm send message to topic my SNS demo. So it will send a message to the topic my SNS demo, and my SNS demo is having my email ID where the message will be delivered. This message will be delivered to this, and then EC2 instances what will do it when the alarm triggers, what it will do, it will reboot the instance. Okay, and history nothing is there. Alarm updated from insufficient data to okay. So you can see here in alarms, if you go in alarms, we have one alarms but nothing is displaying here. Okay, no alarms. So if you see here we have one. Okay, alarm status is okay. There is no problem. State is okay. Now it is okay. So condition is CPU utilization greater than 80 for data point within the 5 minutes. So how we can increase the CPU utilizations? So let me go ahead and quickly log into the EC2 instance, one of the EC2 instance server. Okay. Okay, so this is the server which is running, and let me just quickly log in and run a small script which will occupy the CPUs, right? Okay, SSH, I can find. This is, I think, Ubuntu server. Yes. So now if I use the command tof, I can see here the CPU utilization, right? Nothing, no CPU utilization. It's very less. No users using the CPU utilization, right? So let me remove this, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run a simple command. Okay, I'm going to create small script quickly. Okay, so let me just run this script. Okay, so it is now, it fall in the infinite loop. Okay, it fall in the infinite loop now. So what I'm going to do, if I just go ahead here, go to my CloudWatch, okay, and just wait for some time, because 5 minutes in, sorry, not five, it is set up in some interval, right? Just wait for that interval and we'll see. Let's check in the metrics what is happening. So we have given the 5 minutes, right? Period is 5 minutes. We should have reduce it. Let me change this. So because the data will be collected in 5 minutes, okay? So 1 second. It is still, if okay. If I go and connect to the server here, so use 21%. The sleep command is not sufficient to do that. It's only taking 37, 35, 30 infinite.sh, right? It's taking only 35%. Okay, because we have only 1 GB of RAM, right? So that's okay. 28 SSHD. But still, it should say, it should show some graphs, right? Because we have given so only 80%. 80% is too much. Let me edit this alarm, make it to 20%, and change the timing also. Okay, just to action, edit, period. Let's change to 30 seconds, right? 30 seconds should be fine. Only period greater than 60 is supported. Okay, so 1 minute. Now I'll just give 1 minute and static. Okay, so 80 is too much. Let's give it as 20. Update alarm. Now my alarm is updated. Okay. Hope it will show us. Let's go ahead for 1 minute, right? So just refresh it for some time. Let's just wait for 1 minute, okay? Mm, that is okay. 43%, 22%. Okay. See now we can see there is a spike, it's 55%. So it crossed this. Now, if you see here, the alarm has changed from OK to insufficient. See, now if I give, so insufficient data, action is enabled. Now let's go to all alarm again. Okay, not, let it be there. So here if you see the alarm, the graphs has increased, right? Let's go down. It says in alarm. Now, if you see here in alarm, it has been sent one alarm. So just go down, you see the state is now in alarm. Before it was insufficient data, then it came to OK, and now it has triggered one alarm. Okay. Now, if we just go here, see what it says. No, what we had given when the alarm happens, the EC2 instances to be rebooted. Okay, let's see what is the history. First thing is successfully executed this alarm, successfully executed alarm updated, configurations alarm created. Okay, now let's see my email whether I have received an alarm or not. Let me check. So I'm going to, yes. So I have received two notifications now. Let me log into my Yahoo mail. Open any Yahoo or any Yahoo tap on account key, I can get account key code and enter here. What is this? Tap on account key icon. Mm, what is my name? This is the easiest way. One second. Okay. Receive the code Q W Y B S A. Okay. So now I have, see, I have now received uh, notifications from AWS notifications. I have received many notifications here. See, this is the notifications. All this is given in the JSON format. Okay. Now, if I see here the CPU utilization alarm demo in Asia Pacific, right? Everything is they are giving in the JSON format. Okay. So event source all types scheduled and all it gives the format. If you actually just write it down the message, what message you want to send it, so it will just give you the details about the messages. Again, see, we got another after 1 minute interval, we'll got another alarm. See, so you are receiving this mail because alarm CloudWatch, this demo, and what you'll see, okay, the monitoring metrics is CPU utilization, speed 60 seconds, and all these informations they are giving. Okay, so region for station threshold crossed 1 out of 1 last endpoint was greater than 20. Okay, so you'll get mails like this. So you have to use this CloudWatch for monitoring and set up, you know how to set up this CloudWatch events monitoring and the alarms. Okay, guys, and you can set up your personal email ID or official email ID if you are using any applications. Suppose where in the real time you will use in the real time where you will use this. So let me stop this server, otherwise it will be sending emails and I'll be getting charged for that. Let me stop this one first. Okay. Anyway, it is disconnected. Why it is disconnected, guys? If you go ahead and see these instances, right? Just refresh it. Okay, it has not rebooted it. Just okay. Now what I'm going to, I have to just remove all these informations. Otherwise, first let me just remove this SNS topic. Delete. Delete. I deleted the SNS topic and CloudWatch monitor. So let's the CloudWatch monitor there because we are not going to use this SNS topic because that will be charged. Okay, but this CloudWatch monitor, if you don't specify, okay, better to delete this alarm also. Actions delete. Delete. Okay, guys. Now you know how to create this CloudWatch and set up this alarm and all, right? Hope you guys understood clearly how you can set up this alarm. Do you have any doubt we can discuss?